Coming up on our show, we have the superstar from North Melbourne, LDU, joining us, and Daisy takes us into the four walls of the Carlton Footy Club.
Leave me alone. Leave us alone.
Plenty to chat about. Stay tuned.
I want Mum.
Hello and welcome to the Monday Aces AFL Review Show. I'm joined by Mr. Dale Thomas after a massive weekend of footy. I'm sick of it. I'm ready for a full round of footy. We've got one more compromised round before the the buys cease for a while. So
thank God.
How was your weekend, mate?
It was good. Hello, Wallace. Hello to everyone out there. Look, the footy has been interesting. There's no doubt about it. And I'm with you. Just get us to gather around. And arguably that's still compromised because everyone has to go to Adelaide. But at least we get to see every team in their entirety. The footy over the weekend, though. Some weird and wonderful games and results all in one.
Yes, and lots of question marks. Lots of people having their opinion. And everyone's got one, as we know. But I reckon we throw straight to our Monday Ace because there was a lot of good to come out of the weekend. And
I
I've
reckon
got one.
You start off. You're looking the most positive out of the two of us today.
I'm excited because a young man, Finn O'Sullivan, now he's only played the 25 games and we're catching up with one of his teammates later in the show, but he had the massive task of tagging Mr. Zach Merritt, who can find the footy. Now, to keep him to 10 touches, and I think it was the lowest return he's had in over 8 years, which is fantastic. But then to go and find the footy yourself, have 24 touches, 2 goal assists, 5 inside 50s. These are some really good numbers. So he's my Monday Ace, and I tip my hat to that great man because it was a powerful performance.
Well done. It's a good pick and a good pick up by you, so plenty of love there. I've got a couple of coaches that I'm going to be giving my Monday Ace to. Andrew McQualter, the West Coast Eagles again, good enough to win. So well done, Minnie. It's obviously been tough over there. You can see, though, that the dream that he's selling, the way that they're actually playing now and the ball movement, and they've actually got some belief within that system. So it's not easy, I'm sure, being a young coach coming in with a list that doesn't have a whole lot of either experience or spread of experience. So he's doing a great job. And the other one, of course, is Stephen King. For him to get a win against the Blues, they were pretty horrible in the first half, but they never gave up. It started to turn just before halftime. But again, it's a side that hasn't really changed a whole lot from last year. If anything, arguably got worse with what's gone out in Clayton Oliver, Petrarca, Stephen May as well. And they're finding ways to win. So really well done to Stephen King. There's a couple of my Monday Aces.
Great work.
Now, am I allowed to?
You're allowed to. Mate, you run the show, so you can do what you want. But thank you for that. And well done to both.
Actually, I have a third then. Cozzy Pickett, you're outstanding as well. Have an ace.
Now, Daisy.
Yes, Wallace.
We get some big stars on this show.
The biggest.
Some of the biggest.
The biggest.
Now, one of the biggest names from the weekend, because his club had an almighty win against a strong club. No, it wasn't that one. But he's joined by Luke Davies-Uniacke.
Yes.
Is that how I pronounce it? Yes, fantastic. Yep. Thanks for joining us, mate.
No, thanks for having me, boys. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, talk to us about Saturday night. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about it in the media and the build-up. And then, Daisy, you were commentating?
I was. Tough watch.
Was it a tough watch? How did it feel out there? I know we'll throw it straight into the game because it was on the top of everyone's mind how it was going to play out. And you end up getting the 4 points. But how did it feel post-game?
Post-game was an awesome feeling. And I'm sure, as Days alluded to, that it was a tough watch. And I've been in a handful of games where there's probably been tougher games to watch. But it was good to sort of walk away with the 4 points, obviously, and I still think we were, the better side on the day, obviously, but we had some really good plays through the corridor. I think we really showed a couple of our skill sets from certain players, like Zane Dersma had a really awesome game. Colby McKercher probably had his best game for the club, and to walk away with the 4 points is beautiful, and to end that sort of 10-year streak of the Essendon getting over the top of us is great. So, it was an awesome win, and, hopefully keep building momentum from here.
And talk to us about your own form. You had the 31 touches, building quite nicely in season 2026. Yeah, but how are you feeling that you're going?
Yeah, my game's feeling pretty good. I mean, on the weekend it was, as you probably would have saw, it was just ping-pong up and down. So there wasn't too much of the contested stoppage game on the weekend for myself where I like to do my best work. But, I was able to get some uncontested footy for once, which was nice. And, my form lately has been pretty good. I just keep playing my role for the team, and I'm just loving my role. So that's basically it.
It's a good role to have when it is get the ball to the best users, and you are one of those. Tell us about the mindset going into it, because Essendon, it was backs against the wall stuff. They'd been horrible. We weren't sure what they were going to do from a game plan point of view. How did you boys prepare for that? Because it seemed like you started pretty well.
Yeah. The preparation throughout the week was, like you said, it was the backs against the wall. I mean, we were coming off a game that we felt like we could have easily won against West Coast, but they were too good on the day. And so we knew coming into the game there was going to be a bit of a spotlight on both sides. So we felt like the first 10 minutes of every quarter they were going to come out firing, and especially, that first quarter, which they really played some good footy in, and, it was a pretty high intensity game. And I felt like their pressure was good, but we knew if we just stuck to our guns, we'll get across the line. We felt like we could probably do our system better for longer, and that's what happened in the end.
Now, talk about this man off the top of the show, Finn O'Sullivan. Now, I'm not sure, you probably have a team award or a team player of the game award. Talk us through his output, because it was one of the most remarkable performances of a long time.
Yeah, he's rolled so good. I mean, for someone that young to just accept that sort of tag and responsibility, and you can only imagine in 2 or 3 years' time that he's going to be the person that's getting tagged. So, he's going to learn so much playing on these good players like Butters round one, Merritt on the weekend. I wasn't a tagger growing up. I sort of had to chip away, just learning through Ben Cunnington or Sean Higgins. And, I can't imagine how much influence he's going to have in 2 or 3 years' time playing off these guys. So we do have a team role every week. Team just achievement sort of award that we do celebrate every Monday, and I have no doubt he's probably going to be up there with 1 or 2 players. And he's an awesome fella. He's just like a sponge. He wants to learn everything he can, so it's good.
Can you confirm that he actually did go home and tuck Zach Merritt in?
Along with Zachy Butters too, I think, mate.
Have a slumber party.
But he's awesome.
How do you go now, though? Because it is good to win dirty better than to lose dirty, and probably over the last couple of years, been in those positions, and the dirty losses have come as well. How do you now go from the excitement and, we found a way, to shifting your attention to what's been a tough time slot, the Good Friday game against the Blues, previously against the Western Bulldogs as well. An opportunity now presents, though, because the Blues are arguably going genuinely like bustards.
I mean, you're right, Days. It's been this sort of scenario. I've seen it before. There was a year where we finished with 2-1 after 3 rounds, and we played the Blues match and we got absolutely belted in the Good Friday match, and then we didn't win a game for another 20 rounds. So this year does feel different. It feels like everyone's on the same page, and Clark has done a great job, and the other coaches around just roles and responsibilities, and everyone being on the same page. But this match does feel a little bit different. Feels like we're going in with a bit better form. Even though the game was a bit ugly at times on the weekend, we feel like we're sort of past those games, and if we can just get sort of boys just sensing the moments when we sort of need to go from crazy to calm, all those things. But the match itself's awesome. We're hoping to get a massive crowd there. I can't wait. And obviously it's bigger than a match, obviously, with all the Royal Children's Hospital Foundation all towards that, and all the kids and the families that are going through struggling times. So it's a massive day for the club, and obviously one that we want to come out and perform, because we haven't for a while. I've only won the one in my career, and that was my first year at the club, and that was against Saints. But I'd love to get on the board this weekend.
Can you tell us a bit about the week going into the hospital, and obviously in your time in doing that, what that means to the people who are in a position that is pretty dire at times, but the smiles on faces that you guys do, it's a great job.
Yeah, it's awesome. Any chance we can get down there. I think I've got to get down there twice this week, and obviously you just can't comprehend sort of the struggles the families are going through, kids especially, and just no human should ever have to live life like that. And unfortunately, their sort of fate comes a little bit earlier than others. But as long as we can put smiles on their faces and cherish those moments with the families, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
It's a great part of footy that you're able to provide that support, and it means so much to those young kids. Back to footy. Last question about your skipper. Obviously, he's really taken into his stride, leading from the front, and I reckon he's one of the most underrated forwards in the competition. But talk us through his leadership style and how he's leading the boys every week.
Yeah, Big Sylvie, he's awesome. I was in a leadership group I haven't been in the leadership group till this year, but just seeing his growth, like when he first got into the leadership group, and then just seeing how much he just loves to be that sort of guy at the club, loves to be the man. He gets along with everyone. And more importantly, his foot, the talking off field stands up with his football actions on field. So, whatever he puts out, he's going to put 110% in. He gets along with everyone at the club. He just loves it. So he's one of my best mates at the club, and I love playing under him. So he's just an awesome leader.
An older boy who's going really well, and no doubt his experience is going to help you guys once you start to win games and really progress and fast track that progression, is Luke Parker. I thought he was outstanding off halfback on the weekend, not just in the way he used the footy, but his contest work, we know it's been good around the ball, but one-on-one, he hardly lost any. The old dog to halfback, it's a story as old as time, but it might just get him another year or two.
Yeah, bloody oath. I mean, he's awesome. He's a wealth of knowledge to have back there. And when he first got to the club, obviously he was there for that sort of inside grunt work. And we've got that much young midfielders in there, and that we probably had to move him along to the back line. It just sort of seemed to be like the game's really quick, and we needed a bit more experience and leadership down there at times, because we've had some older guys, leader guys who have been injured in the back line. So it just happened organically that he just floated back there, and Clarko, I think, made the shift literally in the practice match before the Pies game. So, he took the role on like he would, just like a senior sort of leader, as he should. And he just thrives on that position. And it's awesome when he's back there. You can hear him, barking from a mile away. So that's where that sort of, that genius sort of older statesman loves it.
And yourself, mate, the modelling career is going quite well?
Yeah, I thought that might have been a chance to come up here.
You're a handsome bastard. Embrace it. If I didn't look like a foot, I'd have a go.
Mate, I was going to say I got 3 kids, but
I know. I know. It's definitely not up me sleeve for that one, but I copped it a fair bit, so I wore it on the chin though. So, yeah.
That's great, mate. Look, thank you so much for coming on board, mate. We really appreciate your time. You signed on till 2032, so you've really invested in the club, and I'm sure you're enjoying the win column ticking over. So congratulations on the weekend. All the best for the rest of the season, and especially this week. I know it's a big week for you and the club with the Royal Children's Hospital. So have fun, good luck, and all the best on the weekend.
Thank you, guys. Love the pod. Thanks. Cheers.
Jeez, he's a handsome-looking devil.
He is, and love that he loves the pod, but also well done to the footy community this week. The game and a Good Friday itself, obviously bigger than just what the sport is about. So good, and if you can, and you're in a position to donate to any of the ways and what you'll see throughout the week, please do. Yeah,
fantastic. Rightio, let's look into what's brewing, what's leading the headlines today. I'm going to start with the coaching carousel.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about the fire burning underneath some coaches. I'm going to name a couple. Now, we're going to go into some more detail a bit later in the pod. But Michael Voss, Brad Scott, Josh Carr, Ross Lyon. Who's in the most volatile position come Monday, the 30th of March?
I think all of those coaches sat there yesterday at halftime going, come on, Melbourne, obviously except Vossi, because, look, it probably takes the Michael Voss situation, probably takes the heat off others a little bit in terms of how much pressure is just mounting on the Blues because of the way they continue to lose. I think you can probably cop losing at some point, but the way they continue to lose. So of that merry-go-round, if you will, I think Michael Voss continues to be under the most heat. But there is a chasing pack. Good to see the Bombers sort of fought back in that last quarter because, 36-odd points at three-quarter time. If that got to 60, the Brad Scott conversation fires up. Obviously, this week again, you've got Clarko coming up against Michael Voss. So no doubt that merry-go continues. And thankfully, over here in Victoria, we don't really give a stuff about Port Adelaide just yet.
So Joshy Carr's fine for a period of time?
He's sweet. Yes, he's doing okay.
Put him on watch. The Demons brought back the casual dress arrival.
Yeah, did you like this?
I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
What were some of the best kits that you saw that come across the
screen?
CJ,
I thought CJ obviously outstanding. Maxi Gorn, he was wearing some sort of singlet operation and probably Lululemon because good sponsors of him. But I liked it because it wasn't the full take on we're going the American, we have to get dressed up in the suit or whatever. It was just come as yourself, $2 in the jar and away you went. So I'm a fan of it. You?
Yeah, I'm a fan of it too because they didn't make a massive deal of it. It didn't have to be all the sugar and the glam. They did it, like you said, they put the money in the jar and I think they had a bit of fun with it. So kudos to Melbourne for bringing it to the front.
What's Ed Langdon come as?
Not sure. But
Delivery
paper
driver?
boy? Yeah, I was going to say. I'm not sure. Does paper still exist?
Probably not. But this is no. Actually, I still get the Weekly Times delivered.
Of course you do. And the Financial Review.
Nah, please.
Come on, mate.
I like it, and I think ongoing. Why wouldn't we see more of this? You know, the whole thing of when you rock up, we want the sponsors on you. Surely the sponsors understand that on a polo shirt, in the 10 steps you take between your car and getting into the rooms before you then put your tracksuits on, come in comfort.
And I'm all about players being able to express themselves.
Yeah.
And we always talk about people who are speaking to the media, have a spin on something. You know, what's your take on it rather than towing the party line? And this is another example where players get to express themselves, bring a bit of their flavour and a bit of fire in something that's quite docile.
I did a little bit of insight last year into the Cats and just chasing up some insights into Tommy Atkins. And when the Cats travel, they actually have casual clothes.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy Atkins is so low fast, he just couldn't be bothered picking casual clothes, so he rocks up in team kit.
There you go.
He just
gets jocks in the backpack.
Jocks in the backpack and just straight in the team kit regardless. So you can still do it if you want, but I love it for what it's worth.
Now, GWS, I mentioned earlier on one of our pods that they cannot win the flag.
Yeah.
Do you agree with this sentiment now?
It's going to be bloody tough. When their players, look, I'm probably sitting on the fence. It's going to be bloody tough. They can still win it, I believe, because the full list is good enough, but right now they don't have that. So right now they cannot, but if they get a charge going, I think with a full list they can. But yeah, there'd be 6th, 7th, 8th, maybe further down lines of betting for that reason. But it's a good pick-up by you because without Sam Taylor, the back line's susceptible. Without some of their best prime movers through the midfield,
Kelly,
you take the best players out of any side, it becomes tough, and that's what we're seeing across the competition.
Yeah, no, very true.
Good pick-up by you, Wal.
Yeah, all right, the last one here. Now, we spoke a little bit about Brad Scott, but are they directionless? And do you reckon the Brendan Gale, the Tigers, the move, the bold statements, do they have to do something that's bold and really breaks the back of their situation?
Well, they're arguably going in a direction at the moment, south, which is not a good one to be in. But I just feel, so the supporter group's up in arms at the minute, right? They're thoroughly pissed off. We've had big Storeful.
Yep.
Big fella.
Old mate was here.
Yeah, old Knackers.
Knackers is
And
here.
if you tune into him post-match on Saturday night, good viewing. But that's sort of the sentiment of the entire Essendon fan base, I feel. They're like, where are we? What are we doing? Who are we? There's murmurings that Walsh wants to come in and then he's going to push aside Brad Scott, get Solomon in, James Hurds. I just feel at some point in time, and the Tigers did it, Brendan Gale sat down, he said, right, this is what we're going to look like. And Brad Scott's already touching on medium to long term because the short-term pain's going to be there. As a fan base, and this is probably one for the Bombers fans to get interactive with us, jump in the comments, would you rather your side come out and be bold and say, all right, by 2030, what do you say, 5? Is that medium to long term, 10 years, or is that too long? Whatever you
10 years is long term because that's nearly a full list.
Yeah. Yep. So by 2035, we need to have competed and played off in at least 3 grand finals. And you come out and you may get laughed at, as Brendan Gale was, but at least you've then got benchmarks. And if you're going to turn coaches over, you're going to turn players over, you're going to turn your list over, however it looks, you've always got the accountability, and you know this in business. If you're working towards something, these decisions become a whole lot easier and you're on a path. Now, that path may not be easy. It may not just be smooth sailing the entire way. But if you've got something, at least the fans go, right, I can see it. It's tangible. Here we go. This is what we can expect. And if it doesn't, then you can start burning your memberships in the microwave or whatever you want to do because you can say, right, now is time for change.
And then every question or everything that you do, that has to then go back to that statement.
Correct.
So every decision you make
accountable to it.
Is this in the best interest of our long-term goal? And whether they're making that at the moment or they're just putting Band-Aids over something that's cracked, that's the question.
And then if that was the case, you'd be sitting there going, right, are we going to throw $2 million at Zach Butters? Because does that make us better for 10 years' time, or are we better to actually invest that with some younger players or however that may look? But to that point, you've got a clearer way about recruiting. Everything it is, every decision is for a process rather than just sort of, plug a hole here, this is what it's going to do, and this is where you end up.
Question without notice here, Daisy.
Please.
Sorry, on the spot here. Have you ever thought about getting into a football club and actually working, whether that be coaching or more corporate sort of side of things?
The corporate side of it, I was entertaining post-football, but then obviously we went into COVID and all those budgets were slashed, so nothing's for nothing. Daisy, don't work for free. But no, the tactical side of football, like the actual game day stuff, I love, and even just, I'm happy to consult on anything if phone calls are made, because I feel I bring, whether it's a good strength or not, if it's a weakness, I'm pretty simple in the way I approach things. Well, it's just, we can cut through the shit at times. It's football. We're not curing cancer. We're not sending people to the moon. We are playing a game of sport. And for the most part, it's pretty simple in my views. Yourself?
I have thought of it. I think it was important to step away and take a breath and explore different things, even going on this journey with the podcast with you and Tommy. I'm really excited to dip the toes in to see what it's all about. But I'm not
You'd
saying,
like to get back to clubland?
I'm not saying no, but I think there's still, the question mark.
Sitting on boards,
A board sitter, professional board sitter. Oh, look, if you can lend a hand, and look, I care dearly about my club,
and that's
about
the thing.
The Bulldogs. Yeah. So look, if there's any way in the future that I can help, whether it's when we're going well or we need a bit of a straighten up for a direction. It's one of those things. You get an experience of playing, and now from nearly observer, you can see the different intricacies of how clubland works. So, not saying no, but just watch this space.
Fuel for thought, that is, because if you continue to go as you are on the profit propeller, you may have to look at going into clubland. And I believe, we are going to touch on that next.
We are going to touch on that next. So we will discuss the profit propeller, and we'll dig a little bit deeper into what's going on at Bluesland.
Oh, turn it up.
Got a leg in your same-game multi that's lacking heat? This AFL season, try out PointsBet's new Pull 'em feature, which lets you remove a leg from your multi before the start of the third quarter. With PointsBet, you can keep the fire alive in your same-game multis. Just pull 'em and adjust your bet before the start of the third quarter. See your account for personalised max stake limit. Only on PointsBet. Yeah, that's built different.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Welcome back to the Aces Review Show. Before we touch on the Blues and get to what's going on there, while we turn our attention to the profit propeller, low-level flying it's been. One person in particular, perfect record so far.
Who?
It's me. Oh, what an absolute genius. I think I said at the start of the year I'd be 25 for 25 once they pulled this back, the good people at PointsBet.
You put your hand
to
up.
$1.80.
You put your hand up and said, can I introduce this segment? Because
I did, because I'm flying.
Yeah, you are flying.
Me. But the Greenvale Jets, unfortunately, they miss their second time on the propeller. They now are part of the graveyard. So we started off, you had Zachy Bailey to have 20 or more.
Yeah, and he only had the one touch in the first quarter. He came back strong, kicked a couple of nice goals.
That's 17 in the end.
Yeah, so it wasn't far off. Kicked a couple of goals. So, look, he had a good outing. But, just 3 shy. If he had started a little bit better, who knows? But, I don't know. Lions had a terrific win. So, at the end of the day, congratulations to them. And I'm just trying to avoid
well done. Well, there'll be a punishment coming to you, no doubt about that. The Lions I had at the line to win by... Picked my own. They had to win by 2 or more goals, which was looking a little bit dicey, but it just felt, watching along whilst playing golf, that the last part, as soon as they got 1 or 2 and it got to about that 12-point margin, they were going to break the back of the Saints, and they did. Tommy had Sarong 30+. I almost, if I had this leg in a multi, I would have been using the pull 'em token on the PointsBet app, because he was nowhere early and then he got busy late.
14 touches in the last quarter.
Yeah, that's real busy late. And the Greenvale Jets, they had the horny one for 21 or more, Jason Horn-Francis, and he only had 18. So a double miss. So does that save you from a punishment?
I think it does save me.
Oh, okay. You got lucky.
Technicality.
You got lucky. So there it is, the profit propeller. If you want to get involved, make sure you jump through and onto the Aces Instagram. We've got the form there. You can still get involved around the country now too. So it's not only Victoria. Follow the links there and get involved.
The next segment, same story, different year. I'm not sure how many times we're going to talk about this club, but you're going to go to town because...
What are they doing?
It feels like...
What are they doing?
It feels like Carlton have been in the same situation for 3 years running.
What are they doing?
Now, I'm not sure I even need to throw any questions at you. I think you're going to just take it off. But I'm just going to throw a couple of comments at you, and then you can take it the way you will.
My blood pressure's through the roof. My cholesterol's high, and that's got nothing to do with them. That's just my enjoyment for fatty foods.
So I want you to talk.
What are they doing?
I want you to talk a little bit about Paddy Cripps, who's going to be one of the most decorated players in the competition that it has ever played.
Yes.
have they built a list that's truly built for winning a flag? And then finally, what is the cause of these second half fade outs? For all those Carlton listeners and footy followers, let's take a deep dive into the Carlton Football Club as of March.
Come with me, Blues fans. This is the definition of insanity. You rock up and you sit there at halftime and you go, we're in front again. Can't wait to lose. Paddy Cripps is going to go down as you say, one of the most decorated and rightfully so, an absolute champion of the football club. I don't know how he isn't being used or being criticised for what he's doing. So people are starting to come for Cripps saying the game's gone past him. He's been slow the entirety of his career. He worries about himself. All he does is get the ball. That's his job. He's an inside midfielder. As that big bull, you go and get the ball. You get it to your Jagger Smiths. You get it to your Sam Walsh, which arguably those three are certainly doing their bit. I think the criticism on Cripper is unfair. Could he go forward potentially and hit the scoreboard a little bit more? Yes, but is that his go? No. So that's probably, robbing Peter to pay Paul, as they say. The second half fade outs now, like it's a clear lack of belief in their own abilities. Because as soon as the pressure comes, this fun, we're in front at half time, we'll take the kicks, we might make a mistake, we'll get scored against, there's no ramification, becomes we give up one here, they're going to be coming. Oh, no, we've seen this story before. We've read the book. Oh, the pages are turning. The ending's going to be the same. There's opportunities within games, including yesterday against Melbourne, where if you just were bold enough, and you look at Cozzy Pickett late in the game, and I know he's an excellent player, he was kicking it, honestly, like he might have had a sore...
Like a soccer ball.
Yeah, he was kicking it like an old mule, as they say. He was no good in the first half, but he continues to back his skill and take the game on, which is what the game requires. 2 minutes to go. They have the ball. He goes through a kick inside to the corridor, which then goes to the outer side, gets a shot on goal. Ed Langdon kicks the match winner, effectively. The Blues would not have taken that kick because they would have gone 2 minutes. Geez, let's go safe long down the line, which, yes, you got to play the percentages. The kick has to be 100% on, which on this occasion it was. But if it's there, you've got to take it. They go into their shell, they look, and at the level, if you look and you don't take it instantly, it's gone. So then you go long down the line to a side that's then going to rip you straight back through the corridor. They then score heavily and you don't score at all. The frustration from Blues fans, and this is fan hat on probably more than analyst and professional hat. At the 11-minute mark of the second quarter, you're 41 points up. The game high was 43, but it starts to shift here. There's a few points back and forth. So it's 41 points. From that moment on to the end of the game, 51 inside 50s to 21. Carlton go at minus 30. Scores 15 goals 7 to Carlton 4 goals 9. You go 64 points in arrears. Score sources 7 goals 5 from turnover to 1 goal 3. So you've stopped taking the game on, you stop pressuring, you stop scoring from that way. You're living safe down the line, giving the opposition a chance to get numbers there, turn it over, spread, score. All right, what's your one wood? Stoppage, you're very good. No, 8 goals 2 to 3 goals 6, 26-point differential. So not only are you playing safe, you're then not rolling the sleeves up when required for whatever reason and finding a way to score. Tackles, you lose that by 15 in the period, and the pressure rating, 201 Melbourne went out. Carlton couldn't match it. They went at 180, which is still above league average, but still the discrepancy of 20. They are not good enough mentally when the moments come. And I don't know how you change that.
So I'm going to throw a couple of things at you because I think we went through, even my career, a period of time where we'd come out of the halftime break just flat, and probably didn't have the monumental shifts that Carlton did on the weekend. But there's probably 3 things that I'll throw at you from a coach's perspective. So do you reckon in the third quarters, is it decision-making that you touched on? Is it fatigue or is it just a lack of aggression? And what can you do in that halftime break? Because I remember one of the what we tried at the Bulldogs one time was to get some tackling in it at halftime, just to get the boys' arousal levels to a point where they were ready. Do you see a determining factor in why these fade outs are happening?
I honestly just believe it's across the board that they start to play safe. Yep. And I don't know how you change that mindset because this is now between the ears. This is a psyche thing. You can train it all you want, but if players don't take the option, like it just breaks down. And it's not because you've got 18 blokes on the field. If 4 of them are thinking this and they don't take the kick when it's required, well, potentially there's 4 goals the other way. It's a shift mentally that needs to be made, because this is where you see Michael Voss sit there and go, well, arguably, what more do you want from me? Like, I get the side into a position to win games of footy, and I will be telling them to take these kicks, but they're not taking them. Mm-hmm. And the players are sitting there, and the better players are going, well, yeah, we're trying our backsides off, and, are we good enough? Do we do this? There are a couple of the moments in the game that I think should be examined. Mitch McGovern goes set shot just before halftime, I think it was. 15 metres out, call it, slight angle. He went a drop punt, misses to the right. Mm-hmm. Whatever your routine is, but I just think the percentage play now and when it's required is around the body.
Yep.
And then late in the game, Harry Mackay had a couple of errors going inside forward 50. Now, these aren't the determining factors, but again, complete those 3 plays, take more time with the last set shot, Harry. 3 minutes on the clock, could have got it back to 11-point deficit. Even though the fans were walking out the gates, you're still a chance against a side that's, Melbourne are young and inexperienced within themselves. The frustration, and I've been inside these 4 walls when we've been bad. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're as bad as then, but the results are the same, which again just increases frustration. Yeah. Oh my God, my blood pressure. Well, it's a tough watch, and this Friday now, the attention turns to them for all the wrong reasons. Yeah, you get to halftime, and if they're in front, strap yourselves in, Blues fans, and maybe head to the bar.
They've got an opportunity against North. Now, North had that little late game fade out against the Bombers.
Yeah.
Look, so in terms of a team that you want to come up against, there's an option there.
I nearly want to come up against the Gold Coast Suns, where it's an expectation that you get walloped.
And you can throw everything, throw the kitchen sink at it. Yeah. Look, it's a watch, mate. And I don't want to put Vossi's head on the plate, but how many lifelines has he got left?
Yeah, well, just change of coach. Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
But the psychology of it, where does that then fall to? Is it a change of voice? I'm sure he's trying things, saying, boys, it doesn't matter if you make a mistake. But for whatever reason, it's not penetrating, because you can break down the game plan to within an inch of its life. It's there. First half, it's there. It's there against the Swans, who are a bloody good side. Keep them to a really low score. It's there against the Tigs, although not to the same quality. And then it's there to the tune of 40-plus points against Melbourne. But then it's not. Yeah. It blows my mind. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I wish that I did. But bloody hell, this is going to be a frustrating season if it continues.
You feel for the Carlton faithful, because like I mentioned, you've nearly been in the exact same place for 3 years in a row, and these continual things about the post-halftime fade-outs. But
the last word on it, though. Yep. So, Paddy, it gets through this season. If nothing changes and it's a wasted year, you don't play finals. So, Paddy Cripps is a year older. Harry Mackay's a year older. Jacob Wiedering's a year older. Where does it then fall to? Sammy Walsh has just signed a long-term deal. He looks like he's playing some really good footy now. He's injury-free. Jagger Smith. Harry Dean's been good, probably injured at the moment after a big collision.
Yep.
Where else is the future?
Yeah, it's hard to... Look, I don't want to knock anyone else on the team. You've named enough there, but I just feel like with those core leaders that you just mentioned, and then those up and comers in Jagger Smith and Sammy Walsh is obviously an out and out leader, probably the next captain of that club. There's enough there. The core players are good players, but they're just not doing it for long enough. And again, it's that age old. In the pre-game, I think Vossi's just going to have to sit down his leaders and say, you guys have to show the way for this younger team.
Melbourne I don't think on paper, have more talent than Carlton head-to-head, or if you could probably mount a case either way. So therefore, to see what happens in that game, it leaves you scratching your head a little bit harder.
Yep. So anyway, well, that was a very hot take.
I apologise, but jeez, they're a frustrating side.
They are frustration. But
should have gone the Giants.
The numbers did not lie, what you've just went through in terms of that game.
They don't.
That's a monumental shift of momentum on the weekend. But it's time for a real reach.
Oh, can I kick it off?
You can kick it off because Monday's an overreaction, or is it an overreaction or is it real?
This one is actually on the rundown, so bear with me.
Go.
The Blues officially need to apologise to Sam Doherty for being 100% correct.
Oh, see, I like this. Now, accepting guilt and asking for help any way you can is where Carlton are. So,
this is a man who's been in the therapy chair. I
don't mind it. I don't mind it. No, but look, Sam was just giving his honest, and again, we've been through Sam enough, but you got to get good people around you, and Sam's a good person. He's been captain of that club.
And he's 100% correct.
And he's correct. So I don't know whether you lick your wounds, you apologise informally, formally, whatever you do, but get him back in the fold because you need all the help you can get.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Righto, next one. The Pies don't have forwards or enough forwards, good quality forwards, to win a final, and they are now aware of that.
I think that's real. I think they can still win a final, but I don't think it'll be on the back of their forwards dominating in that manner. It'll be keeping the opposition to a low score and finding a way through midfield and to score yourself. I don't think you're not looking in like the Western Bulldogs with a Darcy and Norton and Adelaide Thilthorpe and Fogarty, Walker and alike. It's going to be, if the Pies are to win, they're going to have to be defensively really sound, which they were on the weekend. Craig McRae spoke about it a lot because the forward line, not overly functioning or threatening.
My biggest worry is they've got some stars, and we talk about the Dacos brothers and Steele still playing well. Yep. If one of them misses or one cog in that midfield chain is not playing, do they have enough support acts around them to get a win later in the season? And that's a big question mark. So I'm with you. They're too reliant on too few.
This one, West Coast are closer to playing finals than Port, Carlton, and North.
It's not. I don't think it's real. I think it's
start with Port.
Yeah, we'll start with Port. So West Coast. I reckon this is an overreaction.
Right. This is a reach.
Yeah. This is a reach because we have got a small sample size of West Coast winning. They've won 2 games this year. They cannot be comfortable with that. Let's talk in another 6 or 8 rounds, and if they've got another 2 or 3 wins, it's another conversation. But at the moment, I would take Port Adelaide's list and where they're at, winning a final before West Coast.
And Port also, new coach, new regime, learning it out, figuring it out.
Yeah, just give them a little bit of time to breathe. They'll be disappointed with the result on the weekend at home, but I still feel like they've got enough in there, like you said, in a new regime with a new coach, which could take a couple of years, mind you, before they're back up where they want to be.
I'll phrase the Carlton part of it differently.
Yeah, go.
So I don't think Carlton will be playing finals at least in the next 4 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, will West Coast play in finals within the next 4 to 5 years?
That's real for mine.
Oh, so West Coast will play finals inadvertently in a long way before Carlton.
I reckon. Well, I don't reckon Carlton. There has to be a lot of dramatic change. Yep. There has to be dramatic change with West Coast. It feels like, again, it's a tiny sample size, but they're building. They're building towards something. They've won away. They've won at home when again they were back.
The Duff Titler.
Yeah, I know.
What a player.
What a player. Yeah. So there's some real, and Harley Reid's only going to get better. Look, there's got some notoriety coming back. How many years at the helm?
I might buy a West Coast membership.
Well, there you go.
I might trade in. No, actually, I can't trade.
Well, again, another question back at you. When is a pass to play finals for West Coast right now? How many years?
I will give you, if they play a final, last one game, 2 games, anytime around 2030.
2030.
Yeah,
so
I'll give them 4 years.
Another 4 years.
Yeah.
That's
4.5 years with this season included, I think, is a pass mark. And arguably, it's hard to see the Blues getting there before then either.
Yeah, so you've answered the question. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Now, for all the build-up, we've spoken a hell of a lot about this, but North v Essendon was the worst game of the year.
Oh, that's real. That game absolutely stunk. It was riddled with skill errors. Essendon parked the bus at times. North Melbourne couldn't kick their way through it. And then, it was comical, some of the errors that were made. I know LDU said, we win dirty, and that's all you've got to do. But watching it, wow.
You're talking about a display of the game, of the national game. If anyone came watching it for the first time, how they would feel.
At one point I said, if you'd brought some people in and you'd explain this as a big TV setup and one side was the mole and they were trying to lose the game, could you tell who it was? And that was at halftime. And I was like, no, you actually couldn't tell who was trying to lose it more. This is, the Lions are being slept on as true contenders to win the flag. $6 currently with PointsBet in the premiership market, the Gold Coast Suns shorter than them.
That's real because at the start of the season, again, they were my tip to take it out.
Same.
And then they're 0-2 to start the year, which is not great, not a great start. They win on the weekend. They win well. They ran out the game against St Kilda really strongly. I still think they've got a list and some players who aren't playing at their best currently, and they're only going to get better. And as the season progresses, again, they only need to be there or thereabouts in the top 4 to get a home final and then make it all the way through. So they are by out and out the favourites to take it out this year.
I'll tell you, and again, back to the fixturing that we've spoken at, this is a real one. The fixture you can go and get. You give the Lions a bye, they come out and then they have to play the Pars. They play the Saints and then they play the Pies on Thursday night. It's a 5-day break.
Which is
What's the
ludicrous.
point? Like, it is so dumb.
It's funny. I don't know what algorithms are thrown into the computer to spit out the fixture.
I don't think they threw it in a computer.
Yeah, but there's not.
They stuffed it up.
Yeah, and with all these buys, there's 9 games to pick from, and they've picked a 5-day break for them. So
Idiote.
Seriously, but whoever's on the board or the corporate structure of doing the fixture, you nearly got my arrest for my warrant this week, but you didn't.
Is that coming?
It's coming. It's coming later on the show.
Is that the props? Is that why there's a horse out the front?
It's time for Daisy's D-.
Oh,
so
yes.
Daisy, deliver your D-. It's a weekly report card for the biggest disappointments in footy. We've already talked about a lot off the top of the show, but give us your D- for this week.
Well, arguably you could have found a few. Yeah, the Giants faded away, but then you look and go, well, was it a D- or was it more a result of the fact they don't have a whole lot of players? The Tigs were there, but then they got smacked. Is that a D- or is it more expectation? So the D- is only going to be 1 this week, and it's to the Carlton Football Club again. You cannot be 43 points up against a side who you should be beating, even if at halftime it's close to level. You should not be losing that game. Big, fat D-.
There you go. Oh, you heard it here first. So on the other side of the break, we dig up some of the treasures thanks to Statmate.
Oh, turn it up.
Got a leg in your same-game multi that's lacking heat? Try out PointsBet's new Pull 'em feature, which lets you remove a leg from your multi before the start of the third quarter. Only available on PointsBet.
What are you really gambling with?
It's time for the treasure hunt, brought to us by our good friends at Statmate, where we take you inside the world of the odds from the weekend, the punters and who they have found and who has paid the people. And as always, you kick us off with the goals, Wallace.
Goals. Okay, first we have Timmy Taranto to kick 2+ was at $9.
Good goal kicker.
Great goal kicker. And then opposing him, Caleb Sarong, 2+ was $11. So that's some really good value there. Timmy Membry for 3+ was $11. Steely Green at 3+ was $16. So there's some real value there. And Zach Taylor for 3+ was $29. So I'm not sure if any punter got on that leg, but kudos if you did.
Yes, the disposal market, this is one that a lot of people obviously love to play in and around the 30+. Jared Berry was $17. That was a very good performance by him, good self, alongside Josh Rochelle, who punched out career high numbers, $16 for him. Keziah Pickett, career high again, 30+. So if you're thinking these players who are emerging and getting more midfield minutes, you're currently getting paid because the market hasn't quite caught up. The algorithm isn't there, so you're getting the value, $13 for him. Steel side bottom, 25+. The old dog, $10.50.
That's blowing out, isn't it?
Mate, the algorithm hasn't caught up. He's been doing it for 16 years.
Like 500 games.
My goodness. And Ryan Angwin, good player.
Yeah.
25 or more. Well done, $10.50.
Where's he play?
About half forward, sometimes
play on the field.
Yeah, no, very good player. Don't take the mickey out of that segment. So that is all thanks to our good friends at Statmate, who are your best mate when putting together a multi on the weekend's footy.
Fantastic. So we gave the defenders a bit of love last week. So it's time to give the forwards a little bit of love.
Or the underrated.
The underrated forwards. So we've got to pick 6, 3 each.
Yep.
Do you want me to begin or do you want to?
Please.
I'll begin.
I probably should have because I don't want to double up. But yeah, we'll see how we go.
We've spoken a little bit
do you
about.
Want to go 1 for 1?
1 for 1.
Yes.
Right, we'll go. Now, this player, when I say underrated, I think his output is a lot more than he's given kudos for. And this is Nick Larkey.
Probably the definition of underrated.
Yeah, the definition of underrated. But he's in his 10th year. He's kicked 290 goals. Now, for some of the delivery and some of the ball inside 50 over his 10-year career, it's been limited, but he's finally hitting his stride. He's kicked 71 goals back in 2023. He's his career high. And I just think that he's on track to exceed that and kick around 80 goals. So he gets a bit of love from me.
I like it. I'm going over to the west with Jakey Waterman.
Oh, yes.
The big spearhead. And for very similar reasons. Some of that ball that comes in and how he has to compete and still find a way. Only 8 games last year, still returned 17 goals. Him at his absolute best is still underrated, but it is a level that he's probably above some of the higher-rated players.
So he'll enjoy finals in 5 years'
time.
Yeah. There we go. Joshy Tracy, the Freo Dockers is my next one.
Dick Tracy.
Tracy's had 45, 44 in his previous 2 years. He's currently sitting on 10, but he's in year 6, so he's just starting to hit his straps. 23 years old. I just feel like he's underrated because he's going to be a great player for a long time. I
love that one. He's maybe got the biggest presence.
Yes.
Good discussion point. Biggest presence of key forwards in the game.
That could be a segment later.
We can touch on that maybe Thursday. Shannon Neal for me down the Cattery, another one sort of in the shadow currently. of Jezza and probably still in the shadow to some extent of Tommy Hawkins from an expectation point of view. 44 goals last season. He's starting to come into his own. And I think this is someone in a couple of years' time we'll be saying will be an out-and-out key forward of the comp.
Very good. I love that. An ex-teammate of mine, Riley West.
Okay.
Yeah. So Riley's probably in and out of the team a lot early in his career because he was fighting to play that midfield role, which was stacked with the likes of Bont and Libba and now Eddie Richards. But in the previous 2 seasons, so 25 goals back in 2024, 39 goals as a small forward last year.
Great return.
Which included 2 hauls of 4 goals against Essendon and Brisbane. But a real role player. And you look at his intensity around that forward line, he's the result. If he doesn't get a touch, he makes a mess, he gets his hand in, which always results in more pressure and obviously more scores for the Bulldogs. So hats off to him. And if he continues on the trajectory that he is, I reckon he'll be in All-Australian contention in the next couple of years.
Big news for him over the weekend?
Massive news. Him and his beautiful now fiancée, Ruby, got engaged. So congratulations to you two. Yeah, hats off. She's a lovely girl. Got along with my partner very well with our times at the Dogs. So I wish you all the best in your journey.
Yeah, there you go. And for a small fee of $5,000 to $10,000, I'll happily MC the wedding. My last pick is Ben Long for an underrated forward up at the Gold Coast Suns. 45 goals he kicked last year.
Did he?
26 behinds as well. So to be having 70-odd shots on goal as a small forward, again, plays for the Gold Coast Suns, but also pressure, hard, tough, does a lot of the nitty-gritty up there. So I think he can certainly, and of the 3 I named, he's probably the most underrated in that list, but a key and much missed player when we talk about forwards in the competition.
Tend to agree.
Now, it is time. Get some hay, get some lucerne, get some molasses because the horse is coming in the studio. Sheriff Wallace, look at him go. It is time for Wols Warrant.
Now,
that was my sound effect. That was
beautiful. What do you think? Please give me some feedback in the comments about how
I said it's Wols Warrant. I wish I had $50 because I reckon I could have got a lap dance.
I'm going to ride a donkey in or a horse in next week. Wow. But no, this is a different type of warrant because I
dance. It was 5 not sorry.
That's disrespectful. 5s, come on, man. It has to be green or yellow at least. Okay. So let's talk about this week. Now, I've got a warrant out for the Adelaide Football Club.
Yes.
Now, they bowed out in tremendous fashion last year.
Stanky. 2
home finals, 2 really disappointing.
Didn't win a quarter.
They did not win a quarter. And for their fans who finished on top of the ladder, had great games throughout the season, it just was not good enough for mine. And then we come into 2026, renewed vigour, not a new game plan, but we're ready. We had our experience, we've learnt from it. Have they learnt from it? I don't think they have. They lost to the Bulldogs on their home deck. They lost to Geelong on the weekend. I got this question. Did they just concede? They rested. They left Tex Walker at home. They had their skipper in Dawson. Laird's not playing. What are some of these decisions making? Do they think they're given the right to win? I don't think so. So the question mark over my head and what I want to investigate with my warrant is, are they a top 2, top 4 side? Can they beat the teams in the top 6? I'm not sure. The warrant has been served, and Adelaide, please come and answer the question.
There you go. Sheriff Wallace can take the hat out, and Adelaide, you are officially on notice. There's a tile that's had a flat track bully attached to it on Thursday night, Morgie boy. Did I get some feedback from that?
Turn it around too,
but it's mate, we can only call it as we see it, and that's all we do here on the Aces AFL show.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, Daisy, we nearly had luck last week. We're getting into the early markets before it really gets later in the week, the live markets.
What do you mean nearly had luck?
Nearly had it, you did. You've been tipping awfully well.
100%.
So we'll 3 from 4 together.
75%.
75% if we join our forces.
Back in the day.
But this week, so give us your favourites early in the week if you're willing to put a bet on for futures over, with a fair bit of value on it. Have you got a couple in mind? Have you got 1 or 2 to throw to the good people?
The 2 that jump off the page, and I like the lines early on in the week because you sort of can get a feel and the market can react to a performance that's good from one side on the weekend, also history and how it all comes together. The Gold Coast Suns take on Melbourne, but the line goes up at 19.5. Look, yes, very good win against Carlton, but the Gold Coast Suns, if they're to be the side that we think, I could see this being a comfortable line. I would have put it up around the 27 to 30 point range. So I think there's a bit of room to wiggle there. And Sydney and the West Coast Eagles for similar reasons. The West Coast Eagles, yes, pretty poor to start against Port, find a way to win. The line goes up at 4.5 goals there. Do I think that on paper that the Sydney Swans are a 4-goal better side than the West Coast Eagles? Absolutely. I know strange things happen in football, but when you're looking ahead, I think there's a couple that nice to start the week on a Monday and probably going to shift as we get closer to game time. What have you found for the good people?
I've gone to my old mob. Now, I've only got the one because I'm that confident that it's going to blow out.
So who the Western Bulldogs taking on?
Essendon. So talk about a bloodbath. This has the potential to be 3 figures and some.
Wow-wee!
Now, I haven't gone that hard because I still want to just be a little bit careful in some of my lines, but I picked a line of 85.5 points. You get $2.85 for that. Now, of recent history, there's been many a blowout between these two sides, and the Dogs absolutely feast on Essendon's lack of defence and physical pressure around the ball, especially with the spearhead forwards that we've got and then the midfielders that can be damaging also. So expect a massive margin, but I've picked the line of 85.5 points.
There you go. I like that. And again, ramifications if it does trickle into triple figures. Luke out.
Righto. The Aces community. We love the feedback. We love any media.
How good was Run Club on the weekend?
Run Club was fantastic. It was pissing down rain, unfortunately, but that didn't stop a massive crew from going out and supporting that, thanks to Inglewood Coffee. But our man Moosey was leading the front with his doggy. Train, sore calf, pulled out late, so
concussion.
Didn't run. A concussion as well. Oh, yeah, all that stuff. He can
more excuses.
Talk about a sob story
on his head at the minute.
But it's time to throw to the Aces in the Wild memos. And up first, we have Doles Royce, who talks a little bit about the Bombers.
Got a Don fan here, boys, but Doggies fan here, actually. Throw and zip. Why the fuck would the AFL give the Doggies a double bye? Like, I know this whole fixture's been a bit chaotic with opening round and whatnot, but to have a bye in round 3 into Essendon round 4, it's just a fucking joke, isn't it? Old double bye to start the fucking season. Thanks, boys.
That's 4 buys to you because it's gone straight through the keeper. You missed that.
I'm like, because opening round.
Double bye, don't they play Essendon?
Oh, come on, mate.
Come on, well, sort it out.
That was a miss, and I've just done my line on them for 85.5 points. So thanks to Doles. We've got Mitchell Fisher, who has something to say about the Bombers as well.
G'day, lads. Just walking out of the MCG. I'm a Bombers fan. Jeez, we suck, but thanks. We're not Carlton.
These are funny.
Oh, mate, it's good. And this is the beauty of footy fans, right? Because you sit there and you are trying to find any other pain that isn't your own where you can divert and put attention to. And at the minute, it is the vicious circle. It's your bloody North Melbourne's, your Essendon's, and your Carlton still. And then every now and then just the Richmond pop up and do you a solid.
That's great. I'm actually not going to read that.
Comments from last week.
Oh, there we go.
The Harlem Globe smoker said that Mitch should be calling footy.
Likes. Well, there you go. Well, thanks for that support from Harlem Globe. What is it? Harlem Globe Smoker. That's a cool name too. See, I'm just paying it back. No, look, it's interesting.
The more you break that down, it's a little bit more risky.
Well, I've learned a lot from you because you love your cooling footy. How many games a weekend are you doing currently?
I did 3 over the weekend.
Yep.
Yes, which is good.
And just quickly, how did you get into cooling footy? What was it?
I loved the tactics of the game, and thankfully, being at Carlton in my last couple of years as an older player with a bit more experience, you were explaining a lot of the intricacies and the tougher and the more complicated parts of the game and really trying to dumb it down, if you will, and explain it in terms that becomes understandable and palatable, which is a little bit as to what you have to do when you're on the wireless or on the tally.
Yeah, so it's sort of articulating something in sort of easy form.
Yeah. The toughest part is trying to do it succinctly when the ball's out of play, more so. But no, I agree with the old Harlem. I think that you can certainly get into that if you ever wanted to. But when the world's at your feet, my goodness, what a time to get involved and buy stocks in Mitch Wallace.
Just baby steps. But thank you for the feedback. All right, that's enough of the show. That was a massive show. Thanks to all those listeners who have been tuning in. And please, if you haven't already, like our Facebook or our Instagram to follow us. We've got a huge week again on the Aces card, but none bigger than the Thursday preview show with Tommy. So tune into that because the Profit Propeller will be back. But thanks for listening. Have a great week and we'll see you Thursday.